nature of Maya is very powerful, and we can't really protect ourselves from Maya. And ultimately, Krishna, he's the supreme power and he's more powerful than Maya, so he can protect us. However, we also follow the principle and pure devotional service that we don't ask Krishna to serve us. We ask we ask Krishna what service we can do for you. So that's the principle of pure bhakti, Shuddha bhakti, that we want to serve Krishna. We don't want Krishna to serve us. So we try to, sort out our own requirements and not expecting or depending on Krishna to do stuff for us. But we don't want anything from Krishna, and we just want to do things for Krishna. But and in that way, we can make some kind of arrangements to look after ourselves. Just like we make some arrangements to get food, right? You don't just sit around the couch and, oh, Krishna's my maintainer. He's going to bring me food to the door. I just wait for the knock on the door for Krishna to come to the door and deliver the food. No, we make some arrangements to get food. Although we know ultimately that Krishna is maintaining us. Ultimately, the food does come from Krishna. And we know that, right? I mean, where does all the food come from? Does it come from a factory? I mean, we say, the potato chips came from a factory, but the potatoes don't come from the factory. The potatoes come from the earth. The seed is there in the ground, and then it rains and a bit of sun on it, and then it grows. And all we're doing is processing that potato, and we make it into a chip. But we didn't actually make the potato chips or whatever like that. All the grains or whatever like that, we turn them into bread or whatever. You buy the bread from the supermarket or whatever like that. But actually, the grains itself comes from God. It's supplied by God for our maintenance. So, but so ultimately, yeah, God is maintaining us, but we still, make some effort to do some work and like that. And you do the work as a matter of duty, and then Krishna will definitely maintain you. So the same principle with defense also, everything like that. So same principle there. Okay, let's begin by offering respect to Prabhupada. Om Jnanatamandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes to the shining torchlight of transcendent knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
We're up to text 8.
It was only a short purport for 7. We finished that, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we did. Yeah. So just a little recap on text 7. So we'll just say where we are. So continuing our reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, titled The Opulence of the Absolute, text number 8, which is the first of the seed verses, the 4 seed verses of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita in these 4 verses. So, but this 7 just before that said, one who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. So here in this text 7 of the 10th chapter, this is really important to know this. This is the reason why these soul-searching sessions are so important, because it's through having knowledge about Krishna, his opulences, his power. It's this knowledge that's the source of inspiration for us to become a devotee. Why is it that someone becomes a devotee, that anyone becomes a devotee? Ultimately, like what it's pointing out here, they must have got some knowledge about Krishna. There must have been something that attracted them about Krishna in order to surrender to Krishna and serve Krishna. Why would anyone serve Krishna? It's not going to be just get out of bed one morning and they just feel, I want to serve Krishna, I want to surrender my life to Krishna. No, it doesn't happen like that. Automatically, what happens when you get out of bed is that we're in Maya, that we desire for sense gratification. That's what is automatic in the material world. This is the realm of Maya, that we automatically get filled up with material desires. I want money, I want sex, I want power and fame and fortune and, reputation and recognition. And so these sort of things come automatically in the material world. And it's not automatic that someone's just going to want to serve Krishna. So for that although it is natural, it's completely natural for everyone to serve Krishna. Even the soul in the dog is part and parcel of Krishna and has a loving relationship with Krishna. But the trouble is, it's all covered up. That our dormant love for Krishna is covered up by that body of a tree, or by that body of a fish, or body of a bird, or body of an animal, body of a human, body of a demigod. We're all covered up by different coverings of Maya like that. As we know, there's three modes of material nature: the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. So we're all covered up by the modes. So in that covering, we have forgotten our loving relationship with Krishna. It's there in the core of the heart, but it needs to be revived. So how is it revived? That is answered by this verse. Just by hearing about Krishna. What about Krishna? Hearing about, like mentioned here, his opulences. How beautiful Krishna is. We know what is the definition of Bhagavan, God. What is the definition of God according to the Vedas? That person that's full of all six opulences. You remember what they are? What's the six opulences of God?
Strength,
Yep.
beauty,
Beauty.
renunciation,
Yes, renunciation, detachment.
Well,
or
finance.
power.
Yeah. Yep. Did you say strength already?
I think I said
Yes.
strength, beauty.
Yeah, strength is power. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
strength
it's the
is
same
power.
one. Yeah.
Okay,
Strength,
I'm out.
beauty,
I've got
renunciation. So you got three. That's not bad. You got
Okay.
half of them. You said strength,
Abundance.
beauty, and renunciation. Huh? Hang on. What did you say,
Yeah,
Deepa?
I think that's right, Deepa.
What did you say?
Is that wealth or abundance or Lakshmi?
Your wealth. Yeah. I can
Wealth,
tell you're an
yeah.
accountant, Deepa. You got the wealth one. Yes. Well, it's very attractive, isn't it? Someone's very wealthy. That's very attractive. What did you say, Jayanti? Fame and
Fame.
beauty. Fame and beauty. No, I think she already said beauty. That was knowledge.
I said
knowledge.
on knowledge.
Knowledge. Yeah. So whoever possesses all these are known as opulences, bhagya. So whoever possesses these six opulences in full, that is God. And we all have a little bit of these things. We all have some beauty and some knowledge and some wealth, but we don't have all of it. But God is that person that possesses all of these in full, all six in full, like that. So, like, for example, if you look at Krishna's Leela when he was on this earth, there was one princess named Rukmini, and her father's Bhishmaka. So in the culture, great sages, rishis, they travel around to different kings' palaces and they preach to them. They glorify the Lord to these different kings. A very intelligent culture. Because if you can inject this high spiritual knowledge into the leading person of every country, into the leading person, then if they can become Krishna conscious, then naturally everyone will be. Like, I'll give you an example. At one point, the king of India was named Ashoka. So Ashoka at one point became a Buddhist. And guess what happened to the whole of India? They all became Buddhists. Why? because the king was a Buddhist. So because they pull out their sword, right? Either you do what I tell you or I'm going to cut your head off. So, you know, it's very easy, you know. So if the leader becomes whatever he becomes, then everyone else follows that. And we have that verse. We can look at that. I think it's 3rd chapter, text 21, that whatever the leading person does, the common people follow that.
That's leadership by example, isn't it? In today's terms.
Yes. Yeah, 321.
Where is it? Sorry.
321.
321.
Yeah, 321. When you find it, just read it out, the English translation. Yeah.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Yeah. So this is natural, you know, that whatever the leader's doing, then the common people follow that. That's quite normal. And we have that now. It's not so much just leaders, but like, you know, the Hollywood stars, Bollywood stars, you know, the musicians like that, then everyone, you know, whatever way they dress, then everyone dresses like that. You know, if they smoke cigarettes, then everyone smokes cigarettes. You know, what if they drink a particular kind of beer, then everyone drinks that beer. You know, if they have a mohawk, then everyone wants a mohawk. And it's like that, you know. So generally, whatever the top people are doing in society, then other people follow that like that. So that was very clever. So these great devotees and sages would go from king to king and glorify the Lord for them. They would become devotees. So anyway, this daughter of a king, Rukmini, is hearing from Narada Muni and others all about Krishna, that he's the most beautiful person, he's the most knowledgeable person, the wealthiest person, most renounced person, most famous person, all these kind of things. And just by hearing about Krishna's opulences and powers, she just fully became attracted to Krishna. And in her heart, she decided, I'm not going to marry anybody else except for Krishna, only Krishna. If it takes me however many lifetimes of austerities, I don't care how long it takes, but I just want to have Krishna as my husband. So she was so devastated when her brother Rukmi arranged for his friend Shishupal to marry her. She was really upset. And she was very intelligent though, so she sent a Brahmana with a message to Krishna to plead him, beg him that, you know, I'm in a really bad situation. You know, I want to marry you, but you know, my brother's going to marry me to his friend. So can you come and rescue me? Come and save me. So Krishna was a real knight in shining armor, and he just came in on his chariot and horses and whisked her away in front of all the other opposing kings and that. And then he fought them all off. And yeah, and they lived happily ever after. And they're the only ones that lived truly happily ever after. All the ones in the movies are complete nonsense. But yeah, this is the real story of living happily ever after. The knight in shining armor. Yeah, but how did Rukmini become attracted? It was just by hearing about Krishna's glories. So that's so important. You know, just we have to hear about Krishna, you know. You know, I had no habits of a devotee or anything like that until I met a devotee, and he just started to talk about Krishna and all this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and then I just became attracted, and then I just joined the temple, and that was it. Like in 2 days, I went from like zero to up to some degree, you know. So, and I was chanting 16 rounds after one day of coming to the temple. What's that?
That's called jet propulsion, you know.
Jet propulsion. So this verse, text 7, is the jet propulsion. So, you know, we just have to become convinced about these things, and that how that conviction about Krishna develops by hearing. So therefore 9 processes of devotional service, right? 9 processes, but the first one is Shravanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. That's all 9, but the first one is Shravanam, hearing. That's the foundation of all of them. That's the foundation of all of them. By hearing about Krishna, then the next one comes, Kirtanam. Then we start chanting. Why do we chant? Because we heard that if you chant Hare Krishna, it'll make you happy. That if you chant Hare Krishna, it'll free you from suffering. If you chant Hare Krishna, it'll, do so many things like that. It'll clean the dust from the mirror of the mind, So, we're hearing about the wonderful effects of chanting. So we start chanting. We develop faith. We develop faith to chant, but because we've heard about the glories of chanting. Now, Bhakti Mala, you have a desire to go to the Japa retreat. Where did that desire come from? Because you heard about it. Someone told you about it, or you read about it online or something like that. You saw a post or whatever. So, it just didn't fall out of the sky, or you didn't wake up one morning and I have to go to the Japa retreat at Govardhan Hill. No, you heard about it. First of all, you heard
Yeah.
about it. It's like, why does someone want to become a doctor or an engineer or a teacher or something, because they heard about it. Doctors make, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they have a really good life and blah, blah, blah. And, if you're a lawyer, then you can do anything you want and blah, blah, blah. And, so you hear about something, and then you develop some attraction to it.
Well, Krishna's making me even more attracted to it, because I actually went there about 2 or 3 years ago to the Japa retreat, but I had typhoid and I couldn't
Right.
get out of the room. So I
Okay.
could hear all the kirtan going on. Kalia had come back and tell me how wonderful the lectures were, and I was laying in bed the whole time and I couldn't get out of the room, and I could see all the devotees out there. So he's increasing my my want to do it, my desire to be there.
Yeah.
Because
think
I
this
couldn't
is the retreat,
I
Keshava
couldn't
Prabhu.
participate.
Yeah, Keshava Prabhu does it every time.
Deepa, your voice is breaking up. Can you
My
say that
sound?
again? I only
Oh, no. I think the Japa retreat is the one that Keshava Prabhu in Melbourne, he does it after he takes his people to the yatra,
Yes.
and then at the end he goes off
Yes.
for, I think that's the same,
That's
and
the
he's
same
spoken
one.
so much about it, and I'm like itching to come with you.
See,
Okay,
you've
Bhakti
also heard
Mala.
about it. You've
Yeah.
also, so you're becoming convinced. So that's where the conviction
Yeah,
comes
so
from.
I'm thinking I'll
Be,
hook up.
yeah. So before any act, see, we're always doing actions, right? But those actions don't just come out of a puff of smoke or something. The action, before the action actually takes place, there's thinking and feeling and willing behind it. So you get thinking, feeling, and willing, then the action happens after the willing. Then willing, then action. But it starts off with thinking, right, on the subtle platform. But thinking about what? It means you've heard something and then you think about it. You've heard about something and then you think about that. I heard about, going to Govardhan. So then you start thinking about Govardhan, and then feelings are there, and then willing, and then action like that. So this is the whole process, but it starts off with this, hearing is very important about Krishna's glories and how wonderful Krishna is. And then we want to surrender to him and engage in devotional service.
And I
We
think
hear about
with
how
the
Krishna loves his devotees and is very affectionate to his devotees. One of his most wonderful qualities is called Bhaktavatsala. So Bhaktavatsala means he's very affectionate to the bhaktas, to the devotees, like that. And it's amazing, like even here in the Bhagavad Gita, You know, Krishna's demonstrating how affectionate, caring, loving he is to Arjuna. That Arjuna's, in so much trouble, and Krishna's become his guru, and helping him get out of his confused position. He's so confused. He doesn't want to fight. He's got his relatives on the other side, respectable people on the side, and Krishna's taking the effort to enlighten him. And not only that, then he takes the effort to drive his chariot. And that's in an inferior position. I mean, Krishna's God, right? But and then he's taking on an inferior position to Arjuna. He's just become the driver. Because he'd promised before the battle took place that I will not fight. Because that's not fair, right? I mean, he's God, he could just click his finger and everyone just dies. So he said, I'm not going to fight. But all apart from that, he didn't want to take sides because he's got both sides are his family. Both sides are his family members like that. So he didn't want to, get involved in fighting like that. So, but he agreed to drive the chariot. But he's got Arjuna is telling him, you drive left, right, go forward, stop, everything. And how he's directing Krishna is because you can't hear anything on the battlefield; it's so noisy. So he's just Arjuna's pressing his foot into Krishna's back, to direct him which way to go. And that's how affectionate Krishna is to his devotees. And not only that, when Bhishma is about to kill Arjuna, then when Krishna realizes that if I don't do something, my devotee Arjuna, he's going to die, Bhishma's going to kill him. Because Bhishma had promised to Duryodhana that he would kill the Pandavas today, or at least he would kill Arjuna. Or if he didn't kill Arjuna, he would force Krishna to fight. That was Bhishma's vow. So Bhishma's like the ultimate warrior. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rambo, Superman, Spider-Man, everything all wrapped up in one. He's like the indestructible, incredible. He's an incarnation of a great demigod like that. And he had a boon. He had a boon that he couldn't be killed unless he wanted to die. So his father had given him that benediction. You cannot be killed unless you want to die. You're ready to die like that. So yeah, no one could kill him. But then so he was about to kill Arjuna, and then Krishna realized he's going to die. So Krishna got off the chariot and picked up a chariot wheel that had broken off another chariot, and he picked it up like a weapon and raised it above his head, and he ran at Bhishma, like to attack Bhishma with this weapon of the chariot wheel. And Bhishma was in ecstasy, because Bhishma is also a devotee of Krishna. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. So Bhishma is also a devotee. But this was his greatest ecstasy, to have that fighting relationship with Krishna. It might seem unusual, but for these fighters, this is their rasa. They enjoy so much that relationship of fighting like that. So Bhishma was enjoying firing his arrows at Krishna. And it said that Krishna was accepting those arrows of Bhishma like showers of flower petals. Like that's an auspicious thing you do, to a respectable person. You throw shower petals over their head or on their body like that as a sign of, respect and blessings and so many things like that. After Krishna would kill a demon in Vrindavan or other places, often the demigods would shower flower petals down from the heavens, would be raining down like that. They're so happy, and they're just offering their respect by throwing the shower petals. But it said that Krishna felt those arrows of Bhishma like showers of flower petals. and like that. And then Arjuna was so bummed out because he knew that Krishna's breaking his promise just to save me. So Arjuna had grabbed Krishna's back foot and tried to stop him from running at Bhishma. So he's running towards Bhishma with Arjuna like holding on to his back
I
leg,
know.
trying to stop him. Because, you know, that's a big thing in Vedic culture. You make a promise, you can't break your promise. But that's just to show how much love Krishna has for Arjuna, that he would consider even breaking his promise. Now in Kali Yuga, you know, no one cares, you know, you break your promise, you know, it doesn't mean a thing. But previously it was a big thing. You'd rather die. Previously you'd rather die than break your promise like that. It was such a big thing. So, you know, really, Krishna just knows how to touch the hearts of his devotees. Not only he touched Arjuna's heart, you know, completely won Arjuna's heart even more by, you know, breaking his promise just to save Arjuna. You know, can you imagine how Arjuna would have felt? But not only that, you know, he pleased Bhishma so much that he prevented Bhishma from breaking his promise. Because remember, Bhishma had also promised, I'll either kill Arjuna or at least, if I can't do that, I'll make Krishna fight. So by doing that, Krishna kept Bhishma's word. He broke his own word to keep Bhishma's word and to protect Arjuna. Something like that. When people hear about how Krishna deals with his devotees, then they naturally think, I don't want to serve anyone else. Just Krishna. I don't want to serve anyone else other than Krishna. No one, you know, cares for us the way that Krishna cares for us. You know, no one loves us the way that Krishna loves us, like that, each and every person. I shared on the soul searching thing. I just left a voice recording a while ago of an excerpt from a book that I've been reading, the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which explain when one devotee from the material world, he was he's originally actually talking about what Bhakti Mala is talking about Govardhan. He's originally from Govardhan, but he was in search for the ultimate God, the ultimate God and the ultimate place. So he made his way up through the material world, through the heavenly planets, and he made even then through the coverings of the universe, through to Vaikuntha, finally got to the top planet in Vaikuntha, Goloka Vrindavan. And he'd gone into Nanda Maharaj's village in the spiritual world. Because the Vrindavan in the material world is a replica of Vrindavan in the spiritual world. So when Krishna came to the material world, there was a Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father Nanda and mother Yashoda and so forth, all the coward girls, coward boys. So they're replicas of the ones in the spiritual world. And so this devotee got there in the spiritual world. And he's in the village, Nanda Maharaj's village, and then in the evening, everyone stops their activities, and because it's about time, at that time was about the time when Krishna returns from herding the cows, and everyone stops their activities and just looking down the road where Krishna returns to the village. Everyone's hanging out for catching the first glimpse of Krishna. And then he hears this amazing sound of a flute in the distance. And the flute just is like making everyone go into ecstasy. And then finally he captures a glimpse of Krishna. And this devotee from the material world, right? He's just come there to the spiritual world. He runs to Krishna. He runs to Krishna. It's just so, Krishna's just so beautiful and so attractive, the sound of his flute and beautiful body and everything. He runs towards Krishna. But what is most amazing is that not only he's running to Krishna, but Krishna then runs towards the devotee, right? This devotee has just come into the spiritual world, come back. We're all from the spiritual world, right? That's why we say, Prabhupada said, back home, back to Godhead. I mean, why do we say back home? Because that's our home. It means, what does your home mean? That means where you come from. So it's not like we're always been in the material world. Actually, our real home is in the spiritual world. We were with Krishna. So we had a relationship with Krishna. We temporarily left that. So this devotee's just come back. Can imagine, he's with Krishna and then he's left Krishna to go to the material world. He's just returned. Can you imagine, if you're a parent or something and your kids are left home for decades? Imagine they're just coming back through the door for the first time after decades. The parent would just be deep as in ecstasy, just thinking about it. So you just be in so much ecstasy, seeing that lost child has returned, that lost beloved child has returned. So Krishna's running. He leaves all of his friends behind, the cows and the cowherd boys and Balaram. Balaram's wondering, where's Krishna going? What's going on? So he just burns off and leaves everyone else behind. And then this devotee Gopakumar, he just reaches Krishna and then he falls down unconscious in ecstasy. Just come up to Krishna. He just come up to Krishna and they embrace each other. As soon as they embrace each other, he falls unconscious in ecstasy. And then like I said, what's even more amazing? So, like I said, he was running to Krishna, then Krishna's running to him. And then he falls unconscious, then Krishna falls unconscious. So he falls down and then Krishna falls on top of him. Krishna falls unconscious on top of the devotee. Then Krishna comes back to consciousness and then picks the devotee up, and then tears are coming from both of their eyes, and and Krishna's like caressing the devotee and everything like that, massaging him and touching his head and everything like that. And all the devotees turn up, finally catch up, wondering what's going on here. And like that, and it's just so ecstatic, just hearing about that reunion of Krishna and the devotee. It's just Krishna loves his devotees so much. It's just amazing. So amazing, yeah.
But I was just thinking about this. Like we're talking about how this reunion with Krishna is and everything. But at the same time, I also feel that, yeah, it's actually a very high level topic because like, sometimes I feel, oh, it's very, it's so ecstatic or whatever. But generally I'm thinking, oh yeah, big deal. And also, it's like, okay, so some of my realizations from this are that it depends upon with what mood I'm hearing this pastime, because sometimes it's very, actually, it's proven that I'm completely mental, because sometimes I feel very involved and it's very nice and oh, this is what I want or whatever, and sometimes I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay. But even in the, even in the material world, because we don't come across a reunion like this, there might be reunion like this, but generally not when you, even after you've seen somebody for a very long time, you don't really faint or, but another realization from that fainting episode also is that, like somebody with a very soft heart is more likely to faint, because I think as the yuga has progressed, our hearts have actually become very hard.
Exactly.
Because even when I think back like 200 years ago, you read stories from that era, and the princesses would faint.
Mhm.
Or they would they would swoon, or things like that you read about,
Yeah.
that they were so delicate,
Yeah.
that these things would happen. But
Yeah.
nowadays, that so it's
Mm.
very difficult sometimes to understand these
Mm.
from the position we are currently at.
Mm. Being
Yeah.
hard-hearted. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fact. This is the problem. I mean, it says in the scriptures that if one chants the holy name of Krishna and one doesn't cry, if tears don't come from the eyes, that is telling us something. That's telling us that it's said that our heart is framed with steel. That our heart is framed with steel. It's like harder than rock, harder than stone. It said that even the when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would walk through India, sometimes you can even go there today, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked, even the stones melted underneath his body, underneath his feet. You can go to places like in South India and that, where people go and they worship his footprints. Where is his footprint? It's like melted into the rock, into the stones. There's places where he fell down and his prints of his knees are in the stone, and his elbows and his head and everything is like melted the stone like that. But it's said that our hearts in Kali Yuga are more harder than the stone, because the stone melted, but our hearts are not melting in contact with Krishna, because Krishna's name is not different from Krishna. There's no difference between the person Krishna or the person Lord Chaitanya and the name of Krishna and the name of Lord Chaitanya. So, the stone is melting, but we're not melting. It means how hard is our heart? So this is the problem. However, what's the recommendation for someone with such a hard heart? Is to keep chanting. Is to keep chanting. That's the only remedy, you know. We're not crying when we chant the name Krishna because our heart is hard, but the only remedy for that is just to keep chanting. And then slowly, the holy name will melt even our stone-like steel-framed heart. Just like we have a stream on the property and it's coming down the hill, and the stream is made up of rocks. And one particular place is like this massive rock. And over the years, over many, must have been centuries, the water, which is a very soft thing, right? Water is very soft, but just over centuries of the water coming down the hill, it's just dug out the stones into these three pools. We've got three different pools, through small, medium, and large, with two waterfalls going into them. And it's just all been carved out by water over a long period of time. So like the holy name is like that, just drip, 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 just chipping away at our hard hearts like that. So this process of hearing about Krishna, even though we might not feel ecstasy like fainting or whatever when we hear about Krishna and the devotee or whatever, or we're not crying, but just by hearing and chanting about Krishna's pastime and names, then this is the remedy. There's
For
a
me,
beautiful verse.
it's not about being hard-hearted, I don't think, for me, but it's more about, it's kind of inconceivable to think about being in the spiritual world and seeing Krishna, I think for me, I can't imagine what that would feel like. Like when I see my guru, I get so overexcited and nervous and like a million different emotions all at once.
Nice.
And I can't he's always telling me to relax when I see him, because I'm always like oh, like so many different things. And but so I can't imagine what it'd be like to see Krishna. It's inconceivable for me to.
Yeah.
That's why I enjoy hearing these stories.
Yes.
But it's kind of like fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever our state of mind is, the recommendation is just keep on hearing and chanting, and that will bring us to the perfect position of being in bliss and Krishna's service. Okay, so let's read the verse for today. So, as I said, this is the first of 4 seed verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So very important verses.
It's 8, right? Text 8.
Yeah, text 8.
I am
Aham
the soul.
sarvasya prabhavo
Aham sarvasya
Sarvasya
prabhavo.
Mata sarvam pravartate
Mata
Mata
sarvam
sarvam
pravartate.
pravartate.
iti matva bhajante mam
Iti matva
Himatva
bhajante
bhajante
mam.
mam.
buddha bhava samanvitaha.
Buddha
Buddha
bhava
bhava
samhita.
samasta.
One of you like to read the translation?
Do you want to, Bhakti Mala? Go for it.
I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
So this is God. I mean, we said who is God? God is the person that possesses all 6 opulences in full. Another way to look at who's God is the source of everything. That is God. This is another definition of who God is. God is the source of everything. So if someone comes along, some yogi or guru or whatever, and says, I'm God, then you have to check, is he the source of everything? And also someone says they're God, do they possess unlimited beauty? Do they possess unlimited wealth, unlimited strength like that? Sometimes these so-called gods, Bhagavan, they say they're God, but they're ugly. They can't be God. God's not ugly like that. They have so many shortcomings.
Like Krishna's name means all attractive.
Hmm.
So you know how they say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, whereas in Krishna's case, it's like all attractive means everybody finds him attractive.
Everyone finds him attractive. Yeah. Everyone finds him attractive.
Until they know he's
So
God.
the birds in Vrindavan were attracted to Krishna, and the animals were attracted to Krishna, and even the river Yamuna was attracted to Krishna. See, when Krishna would play his flute, then the Yamuna would stop flowing. Can you imagine? I mean, it's a big river. It's not like a little water coming out of a hose, stopping a hose. It's a massive amount of water, and the river would stop. Birds in the sky would just stop flying. They'd just be stuck in midair like that. Calves drinking from the mother's udder would just, their throat would get choked up and they couldn't drink milk like that. And the gopis getting dressed, when the sound of the flute entered their ears, they would get confused and they would just run out of the room with one earring and one bangle and everything like that, or put the top half of the clothes on the bottom half and the bottom half of the clothes on the top half and like that. And they were just completely bewildered by that sound, So Krishna's just so attractive to everyone.
Deepa was saying something.
Deepa, were you saying something?
Oh, no, we were talking about Krishna and all attractive, and
Yeah.
that everybody finds him attractive, but that's only until they find out that he's God, and then they don't want to know.
Only until they find out he's God. I mean, what I
Yeah,
mean,
because
you could
everybody's
argue
turned away.
that there's so many people in the material world are not attracted to Krishna.
Mm.
And that's not because, like I said, it's not that he's not attractive to everyone, but that's another reason. Because why are, 99.9% of the people not attracted to Krishna in the material world is because of our hearts are covered by this envy of Krishna, like that. And we can look at the 727 and 728, cover this, why we're not attracted to Krishna.
Is it, O Scion of
Yeah.
Bharata, O conqueror of the foe? All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate.
Yeah, so this is how it's possible. How is it possible that Krishna's so attractive, but we're not attracted to him? It's because of this. Because we're in delusion, complete, which means complete illusion. And in that illusion, we're bewildered by dualities that have arisen from desire and hate. So these are the original, all the dualities, like we've got hot and cold, rich and poor, happy and sad, like that. All these sort of dualities, good and bad, and white and black, and all these kind of things. But these dualities originate from two original things. A desire. What's that desire? It says in the purport that about 5 lines down, the illusory energy is manifested in duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord. That's the desire. So what is the original desire? The original desire is to become God. We want to become one with the Supreme Lord, so we want to become God. And what's the original hate? That we envy Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead. So we want his position. He has the position we want, so we hate him. So definitely that's gonna wipe out our attraction for Krishna. We actually, apart from not being attracted to Krishna, we actually hate Krishna. We actually hate Krishna. One time I was going door to door as a Brahmachari book distributor, and I love distributing Krishna books. It's my favorite book. So I presented the Krishna book, which has got a picture of Radha and Krishna on the front, to this lady at the door, and she looked at the picture and immediately she said, "Why is he so short?" And I was like shook my head, and I looked at the picture. I'm not seeing that he's short. So how come she's seeing that he's short? And then I realized this, because in her heart, she envies Krishna. She wants to be Krishna. So Krishna is inside of her heart and is fulfilling her desire. You don't like me. Krishna's prompting in her heart. You don't like me. So he's appearing to her short. Oh, I don't like him. He doesn't look very good. He's short like that. So, okay, you hate me. Okay, I'll help you. I'll help you like that. And then he'll fulfill that desire. So you can't progress in that way. So this is the reason why we're not attracted to Krishna, because we want to be Krishna and we hate Krishna. And then the next verse, 28, you can read that if you like, Deepa.
28. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful action are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination.
So the only way you can get out of this desire and hate is by engaging in pious activities and side by side stopping the sinful ones. Stopping the sinful ones. So sinful activities, they immediately make us, like I said, hard-hearted, steel-framed heart. That's where the steel-framed, rock-like heart comes from. Animal killing, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, all these kind of sinful activities, the effect they have is make the heart hard. I mean, the heart hard. They make the heart very hard because of sinful activities. There's a verse in the beginning of the 10th canto which says, that Nivritasaya Upagyamanad Bhavol Sarach Chotra Manol Biramat Ka Uttamasloka Gunavaradat Puman Birajeta Vina Pashugnat. Basically, like, who can not be attracted to hearing these messages about God other than the person who is a killer of himself or killing animals, other than the person that is killing themselves or killing animals. So that point is there. Pashugnat. Pashugnat means animal killer. So that immediately makes the heart hard, and then one's not going to be attracted to hearing about God like that. And we see that so many people, they're not attracted to hearing about this. Oh, I don't want to read Bhagavad Gita. I don't want to hear this talk about Krishna. Because this is why, because they've engaged in these vicious activities, sinful activities. And what does it mean? It has another meaning, Pashugnat, it's explained there. So killing animals and also killing one's own self. So what does that mean, killing one's own self? That means, they're by using your human life just for a sense gratification. That's like you're killing yourself. It doesn't, so it's not just meaning people that commit suicide. It's not just meaning that, but it's meaning people that they've got this human life which is meant for self-realization, God realization, but they're not using it for what it's meant for, the purpose it's meant for. They're using it just for sense gratification, sex, drugs, rock and roll. And so that's the Western philosophy. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, eat, drink, and be merry. So this hedonistic philosophy. So that they're actually committing spiritual suicide by doing that. They're killing their soul. We know that you can't kill the soul. It says that in the Bhagavad Gita. The soul cannot be cut to pieces by weapons, cannot be drowned by water, cannot be burnt by fire. It cannot be cut to pieces or anything like that. So you can't kill the soul. So why is that verse saying, you're not attracted, only the person that's killing animals or killing the soul is not attracted to hearing about Krishna? So what does it mean, killing the soul? Because you can't kill the soul. But what you're killing any interest in God and hearing about God and chanting about God. So that's what it means. So you're not actually killing the soul, but you're killing any opportunity for spiritual progress. So basically you have killed the soul because you're never going to get out of the material world. The soul's going to just keep cycling in the cycle of birth and death, reincarnating, because you just destroying any possibility or any opportunity that you can get out of the out of the material world and go back to Godhead, because you're just so intoxicated and sense gratification. So it's that process of sense gratification just keeps us returning again and again and again and again and again and again, like that. So that this is the problem, So therefore, the recommendation is engage in pious activities, which our Prabhupada explains in one place. Pious activities are activities that clean the heart. They're activities that clean the heart. The ultimate pious activity is chanting the names of God. The ultimate pious activity is chanting the names of God. And we can say, if you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, that's okay. You chant the name of Allah if you're a Muslim. You chant the name of Jehovah, whatever, or you could say Jesus, the Son of God if you're a Christian, whatever like that. But this is a pious activity to chant God's names like that. That will start to clean the heart. Other pious activities, not as cleaning as that, but you could, like feed the poor people, dig wells, like that, plant trees on the side of the road, give some charity like that, do some austerities. There's three different categories of pious activities. We can read that in the beginning of the 18th chapter. Let me just find the verse. I remember it's in the beginning of the 18th chapter. Yeah, here it is. Oh, yeah, is it? No. Yeah. Fifth verse, 18th chapter. Fifth verse.
You're like an index.
Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls.
So like I said, pious activity means purifying. So these three things, they purify even great souls. So they're never, it's not like, oh, I've been a devotee for 32 years. I don't have to do any sacrifices, charity, or penance anymore. I'm sorry, mate. You still have to do it until your body drops down dead. You keep doing it like that. And sacrifice. So actually chanting Hare Krishna is a sacrifice. So the sacrifice recommended for Kali Yuga is called Harinam Sankirtan. So coming together to chant the names of God, that's the recommended sacrifice. The recommended sacrifice for Dwapara Yuga, do you know what that was?
Deity worship.
Every yuga has a recommended sacrifice. So 4 yugas, 4 recommended sacrifices.
Deity worship.
Jayanti said deity worship. Yes, so temple worship. That's why there's a lot of temples and churches and mosques left over. They're left over from the previous age where that was the recommended age. But we shouldn't be, 100% fired up just for that, because you're actually doing the sacrifice for the wrong age. I mean, for not the wrong age, but a different age like that. So, I mean, still we can do that, but that's secondary. The primary one is chanting. Even when you go to the temple, what should you be doing? Chanting, not just waving incense. I mean, you can wave incense, or lighting a fire, but it should be chanting. Chanting is the main one you should be doing, whether you're at the temple or not at the temple. If you're not at the temple, chant. If you're at the temple, chant, because that's actually the sacrifice. And for Treta Yuga, what was the recommended sacrifice? Dwapara Yuga, it's temple worship. Archan, which is Archan. Yeah, and Treta Yuga, it's fire sacrifice. And that's why we still have a little bit of that left over. Still is some fire sacrifices going on. But it's not recommended because this is Kali Yuga. It doesn't work so well like that. And for Satya Yuga, meditation. And that's why there's a little bit of that left over. You get a few people trying to meditate. Doesn't work so well because I'm sorry, mate, it's not Satya Yuga, it's Kali Yuga. So you try to sit down and meditate, doesn't work so well like that. And charity. So charity, the best charity, and charity you might think of it as giving money, but not necessarily just money. Previously they would give cows. Cows was actually the best charity. The best charity was to give cows. And to who would you give the cows to? Give them to brahmanas. Even you're giving money, give it to brahmanas is the best one, to devotees, If you give, it wasn't recommended to give money to sudras, to ignorant people. If you give money to an ignorant person, do you know what he's going to do with it?
Fritter it away.
Yeah, she's saying frittering away, even worse than frittering it away.
Drink.
He's going to engage it in sinful activity. You just helped him. You just help the Sudra to engage in more sinful activity because he's going to get some drugs, get some intoxication, buy some meat. He's going to go to McDonald's and like that. better to give money to an intelligent Brahmana because he's going to use it for some good purpose. He's going to purchase books, Bhagavad Gita, or he's going to buy some ingredients to distribute prasadam, or he's going to build a temple. What's that? Oh, Johnny's criticizing me that sometimes I give money to ignorant Sudras. Yeah, but I have a special technique. Like one time we were doing Harinam in Queen Street in Auckland.
No, I'm not talking about that one.
No, but just listen. And then and there was a beggar there, and she was the most unhappy person I ever seen in my life. And then a devotee put a flyer for the local preaching center in her begging bowl, and she looked even more unhappy. And then I was at the end of the line, and I just put I had a coin in my pocket, $1 or $2. I put it in a begging bowl. And she was looking down like so morose, so depressed. And she looked up at me, and she had a most beautiful smile on her face, and she said, "Hare Krishna."
Oh, wow.
That was the best dollar I've ever spent in my life. If I could repeat that, I'd spend thousands of dollars like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying some neighbors you've given money, they didn't say Hare Krishna.
Yeah, anyway, I have a plan. I have a master plan.
They
One
will
time I was in a car
eventually.
park. One beggar came up to me in the car and said, "Oh, do you have any money, a coin to spare? I'm thirsty. I need to buy a drink." I don't actually know if he's actually going to buy the drink or buy some drugs. I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway, he said, "Do you have some money for me to buy a drink or something?" I said, I'll give you a coin on one condition." He said, "What's that?" I said, "You got to say Hare
Hey.
Krishna." And he said Hare Krishna. And
Yay.
then he said, "Oh, that made me feel really good." I said, "Good." And then I gave him the money. And then he walked away. I don't care what he did with it after that, because he chanted Hare Krishna. And I know, because it said, like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Eka Krishna Nam, Sarva Papak Shaya. Ek Nam means one name, Krishna. Sarva Papak Shaya, all sins destroyed. So even if they are a sinful wretch, which I know they are, then all their sins are destroyed by Ek Nam, not by 16 rounds, just by one name of Krishna. That's all we're trying to achieve. Get them to chant one name. And like this verse says in 28 that we read before, then when all the sins are completely eradicated. But that's how you can eradicate all the sins, is by getting them to chant the holy name. Then all the sins will be eradicated, and they'll become the most pious person just by chanting
I
Hare
tried that
Krishna.
But
once
then they
in
might not.
Auckland. One fellow was sitting like this.
Yeah.
So I said to him, "Okay, I'll give you a coin, but you have to say Hare Krishna." No, he was asking whoever was going past. He was saying, "Do you have money? Do you have money?"
Yeah.
I said, "I can give you a coin, but you have to say Hare Krishna." He said, "I won't say." But I said, "I'm not giving." And I
Yeah, don't give.
yeah.
Don't give. That's all right. But yeah,
And it
that's the
may
best
not.
charity. So there's different kinds of charities. But even like one time Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was walking around with his disciples in holy places and Vrindavan, they were in Radhakund and stuff like that. Like at Govardhan and Radhakund, like that. When you do Govardhan Parikram, the Radhakund comes just before the end of the Parikram. You go to Radhakund. So, and he's got a lot of rich disciples, right? They're mostly Grihastas at that time, and they were there. And there's heaps of beggars. I don't know if you remember from Govardhan Parikrama. There's beggars everywhere on the Govardhan Parikrama. And like that, and he noticed that his rich Grihasta disciples, they weren't giving any money to the beggars. And he turned around to them and said, you should give. You should give. He said, if you don't give, your heart will become hard. And I always found that was a very interesting point. Because you might think, well, maybe they won't use it, these beggars, maybe they won't use it properly. In one sense, it doesn't really matter. That's a secondary point. But the primary point, which I found very interesting, is that what effect it will have on your heart if you don't give. If someone's in need, someone's suffering, and you can help them, and you don't help them, then it makes your heart hard. The secondary point is, what if they don't use it properly? Okay, that's the point. But the primary point is, what effect it will have on you. What effect it will have on them. Okay, that's the point you've got to discuss. But what effect it will have on you if you give, it'll soften your heart. And if you don't give, it'll harden your heart. So that's another what some devotees do. Like I know Janananda Maharaj, I think he does this. He doesn't give them money, but he gives them like food. He'll take like lollies or something around, and they give a lot of sweets, give out sweets, have a basket of sweets or something, or cookies, and give out things like that. So if you don't want to risk them going to McDonald's or whatever, I mean, they wouldn't be going to McDonald's in Vrindavan, but if you want to, avoid, you could just give out some food, which is actually, an essential thing. But somehow or other, we should get into the mood of giving, because that's softening our heart. Because in the material world, we're so selfish. We're all so self-centered. So the material association tends to make us very selfish, like that. My house and my money and my wealth and in my family and my. So the Vedic culture tries to break that down. Therefore, in Vedic culture, before you eat, you're supposed to go outside your house front door and call out loudly 3 times, is anyone hungry? Is anyone hungry? Is anyone hungry? Come and eat, come and eat, come and eat. And then, whoever comes, you have to feed them. And if there's no food left over after feeding everyone that heard what you said, then tough luck. Go hungry. So that's like breaking down that selfishness. I'm so rich and I'm making all these delicacies for me to eat and for my pleasure of my tongue and my belly. So it's all about gratifying the senses. So Vedic culture tries to break that down, especially as a grihasta. As a family person, you can potentially enjoy your tongue and your genitals. So Vedic culture tries to break that down. Like I said, sense gratification. We're killing the soul by the sense gratification process. So we're trying to the Vedic culture breaks down that self-centered sense
I think
gratification.
we saw that
Like that.
in action when we went to Mayapur, to Suravikund.
Yeah.
Remember that place?
We
where
were all there. All of us were there.
Yeah.
Remember that we went to one place where it was close to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's ashram, his bhajan kutir. There was one called Surabi Kunj. Remember, there was that amazing old man who was a sannyasi, and he had an even older mother. And the
yes,
older
yes.
mother had cooked, and when
Oh,
Kesava took us to the
yeah.
temple, which was
Yeah.
packed with people.
Yeah.
But and the sannyasi was the head of the temple, right? And
Avadut Maharaj.
Avadut Maharaj was his name, and he actually kindly left that program, which he was pretty much needed to be there, but it was packed with people. But he left that to come and serve food prasadam to all of us.
Oh,
So
yes.
he left. First of all, the big thing was he left the program, which was a big sacrifice. And then he sat us all down. His mum, he must have been like 70 or something. His mum must have been 90. And then the mother, had old bent over lady, cooked everything. And then he himself, sannyasi, served us. I mean, we should be serving him, but anyway, he served us. And we all ate voraciously. Keshava ate the most voraciously. And I think by the time Keshava had filled up to the brim, there was pretty much nothing left. And I
Oh,
I
goodness.
realized that we pretty much ate their share of the food, you know.
Yeah.
So there was like nothing left for them. And then Keshava said, come on, he wants to extend his temple or whatever, empty out your wallets. And I think we all did. We all gave heaps bigger. Other places would give 50 rupees or 10 rupees. Like we gave hundreds and thousands of,
Yeah.
you know, hundreds or thousands of rupees because he was just so charitable, so much sacrifice and charity and tapasya, austerity, such an austerity, you know, and
he doesn't need to do. He's sannyasi.
no, I mean, this is what the meaning of sannyasi is, that he was
Yeah.
actually living the meaning of what it means to be a sannyasi.
Yeah, that is true.
Complete sacrifice, complete charity, complete tapasya austerity, like that. And
His poor mum cooked again.
it's probably his poor mum cooked again.
Because
But that is the austerity. That is the meaning of, you know, and that is spiritual advancement. That you can, their hearts are so soft. And my heart became a little bit softer by just having their association. Their soft hearts, you know, reflected onto my hard heart and made my heart a bit softer. And we're still remembering them after, you know, a decade.
Yeah.
You know, still remembering them. Still nearly a decade, you know, still remembering them. You know, so very, very important. So there's the pious activities. They purify the heart. So we should engage in these things and avoid the sinful activities that harden the heart. This is important. Yeah, so that's getting back to our verse for today, text 8. That's why even though Krishna's all attractive, right, and he's the source of the spiritual material worlds and everything, then why we're not attracted? Because our heart is so hard in Kali Yuga, because of performing so many sinful activities. So the first thing recommended when you walk in the ISKCON door, 4 regulated principles: no more meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. So we have to stop this. We have to stop the sinful activities. And then we do the most pious activity, chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So this is fulfilling that principle so that we can become attracted to Krishna. Krishna's all attractive. We're not attracted to him because our heart is so hard from sinful activities. So stop the sinful activities and purify your heart. And then when your heart is purified, then you do become attracted to Krishna. And then you will be doing this, what it says here. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Like that. So that should be the natural consequence of someone knowing, having this knowledge that Krishna is the source of everything. The natural result of having this knowledge that Krishna is the source of everything is that we should serve Krishna. Like we read in the previous verse, the consequence of knowing Krishna's opulences and mystic power is that you engage in Krishna's service without any doubt. The reason why people don't serve Krishna is because they're ignorant. They're ignorant. They don't know who God is. They don't know who they are. They don't know their relationship with God. They don't know anything. You know, so that's real knowledge, to know who you are, who God is, and your relationship. That's real knowledge. But who has that knowledge? You know, they have a PhD, BSc, MBA, you know, a science degree, everything, but they don't know about the soul. They don't know about, you know, who God is, like that. They don't know their relationship like that. So they're ignorant. It's just so-called knowledge, but it's not real knowledge. And this real knowledge is not taught on any school on the planet, any educational, any library on the planet. They don't have this knowledge. They're just propagating ignorance. They're all propagating that we're the body, that the purpose of life, the goal of life is to enjoy the body. This is what keeps us here, this is what keeps us here. That our goal is to enjoy the bodies, which is sense gratification. That's what I said kills the soul, keeps us here in the material world. And that we're advertising that as knowledge. You know, that we have all this advanced sense gratification now in modern society. We have so many bodily comforts. So we have air conditioning and this conditioning and this kind of fast food and takeaway and highways, flyways, byways, tunnels, skyscrapers, you know, high-speed internet, high-speed trains, everything. This is what keeps us here. All this is causing us to forget Krishna, you know, so that's a disaster. But this is the knowledge we really need, you know, which is that Krishna is the source of everything and that we need Krishna. Krishna is the source of my body. He's the source of my family. He's the source of my wealth. He's the source of my arms, my legs, my eyes, my seeing ability, my hearing ability, my heart working, my lungs working, the sun rising in the morning, the putting the fragrance in the flowers, you know, you name it, Krishna's the source of it. Like Krishna's going to say later in this chapter, that I think it talks about later in the chapter, he says, I am the fragrance of the earth. I am the taste of water. I am the light of the sun and the moon. This morning, early in the morning, I went out to go for a pee because I pee under the trees and not in the toilet. And I had to get up in the night and go for a pee. And beautiful moonlight, Full moon has just passed. Actually, this recent full moon, like 1 or 2 days ago, was the particular moon where Krishna does the Rasa Leela. So when I looked at the moon, I was going for a pee and I was looking up at the clear sky. I was looking up at the moon, which was a little bit less than full. And I remembered, oh, well, this moon is so beautiful. This is Krishna's Rasa Leela moon. Twice a year he does it, in the spring season and the autumn season. So it's called Vasant Rasa Leela. And what's the other one? Vasant. Vasant is spring. And then what's the other one? Autumn. Vasant and anyway. Spring and autumn. Sharad Vasant Lila. So when I was looking at that moon, it reminded me of Krishna's Rasa Leela. So that's what it's supposed to do. When you see something, it's supposed to remind you of Krishna like that. So when you see the sun and the moon, it's supposed to remind you of Krishna. They're compared to the eyes of the universal form, just like we have two eyes. So one eye of the universal form is the moon, and the other eye is the sun. So every time you see the sun and the moon, you can remember this is Krishna's, the eyes of the universal form. Or you can remember Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes and so many things like that. So this is where we're trying to get to, where we have the knowledge that's connecting everything with Krishna, and then automatically the result will be that we'll surrender to Krishna, dedicate our life to Krishna. So yeah, this knowledge is so important. It's bringing us closer to surrendering to Krishna and engaging in devotion and service. So thank you very much. Does either of you like to say anything, or Jayanti?
Oh, I wanted to say this verse is also, the meaning has been changed.
Oh,
From-
I need to bring that up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should tell them. Where is the as it is then?
Unfortunately, and this is something and devotees are talking about on the internet
What is?
more and more, is that unfortunately, since Prabhupada given us this Bhagavad Gita and up to when he left in 1977, unfortunately, since 1977 up till now, there's been so many changes made in the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, about 5,000 changes, which is actually not good to change the words of the spiritual master. Like Bhagavad Gita as it is means, you know, it hasn't been changed, right? So, but as soon as you change it, then where's the as it is? It's not as it is anymore, you know. So what you can do to get back to the original as it is there is actually the original Bhagavad Gita up to 77 before the changes. You can actually get that original one. So we've got both. And you know, sometimes you'll read it, even like these verses we're reading now, you know, like I was noticed in text 7, there's quite a bit of change like that. So sometimes the verses are changed, sometimes the purport has had some changes, sometimes both like that. So yeah, that's something we recommend. There's no harm in having the original one there. Sometimes it doesn't change the reason. Sometimes it doesn't change the meaning a lot, which is not a big deal. But
No,
in
it's
one
very
sense,
subtle, but
it's very subtle. But in
it is
another
the
sense,
change. Like even this last one, which
Mm.
which you just read from chapter 7,
mm,
Tesham Antagatam, that verse.
yeah,
There also they it looks like a very subtle change, but the meaning has changed.
mm, mm, mm.
I don't
Where
know
can
why
we
they have to
get
do
that?
it.
Where do we get that
I mean, in New Zealand,
that
there's a place you can order that for people devotees that distribute it. But I'm sure in Australia there'll be some devotees, so we can look, we can try to find out. But I mean, you can find it.
If you want to refer to it online, it's called asitis.com.
okay.
Asitis.com.
Yeah, it's just asitis.
I think there's a few different devotees that distribute them online or in person, like that. And Prabhupada
Thank you
actually
so
mentioned
much
it.
for
That's
today.
right.
I'm going to have to head off.
Yeah, time's
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah, lovely to see you, Bhaktimala. Thanks
You
for joining
too.
in.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See
Yeah.
you.
Prabhupada said that this is a disease that we have in the material world. He called it the change disease. Change disease. You know, we always tend to fiddle with things. And that's coming from the disease that we have of mental speculation. So this is, and that's recommended by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, that if we want to progress in Krishna consciousness, we have to get free from mental speculation. And the other one is material desires. These are our two main diseases. Both that we have a material desire, and then we speculate. Your picture's frozen, Deepa. Are you still there?
I am.
Oh, you are, okay. Your picture's frozen, but that's all right. Still there. But yeah, so this is very detrimental in holding us back from advancing in Krishna consciousness if we speculate. So we should try to avoid speculating. And unfortunately, some of these devotees that have access to publishing Prabhupada's books have been involved in this speculation, which is pretty disastrous. So, you know, there's a lot of devotees now that want to get the original books and don't want to read these books that have been changed. So,
Isn't there like an overall responsible? I mean, you know, ISKCON. Like, I mean, when Prabhupada was here, Prabhupada was the one who, at the end of the day, was, you know, overall in charge or overall. Isn't there someone like that now?
well, it's a whole body called the Governing Body Commission.
So why don't they do something about
Yeah, I mean,
this?
it's happening under their watch, but they're for some reason or other. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, small devotees have protested, but yeah, somehow or other, the so-called big devotees, the leaders, they don't do anything about it. I mean, they've had some so-called investigations, committees investigating the changes to see if they're legitimate or not. I mean, sometimes they'll justify it by saying, oh, there was some spelling mistake, or, you know, something wasn't grammatically correct. But they've changed a lot more than just the spelling mistakes and grammar things. So they've gone far beyond that. I mean, you can understand it if there's a spelling mistake or something's grammatically not correct, you're going to change that. That's, you know, fair enough. But they've changed the philosophical meaning of a lot of things. So that's gone beyond that, way beyond that. So yeah, I don't know why that this is a disease, and it's even looks like it's even in the top of the spiritual organization, this disease of mental speculation and wanting to change things. But yeah, and they'll justify justify it in different ways, but actually there's no justification. The words of the spiritual master, just like the words of God, should not be changed. So yeah, it's upsetting for a lot of devotees that they're doing like that. But the original books are still available, so that's the good news. The good news is they're still available. It's good to be aware of the original versus the modern, like that. But it's, and you can see like that, the Bible, there's, you know, thousands and thousands of different ones, and, you know, everything's, you know, different. So this is a disease that we're always changing. So, yeah. But that's our purpose as a devotee, is just to repeat Krishna's message, to repeat the spiritual master's message, and not to change. And
But
that's
then
called
the
Paramparada
GBC,
Succession.
the GBC, that's the governing body of ISKCON, and they are changing. I mean, this is leadership by example. This is very poor.
But
If
yeah,
they are
that's unfortunately,
demonstrating that, then there's what else is there? You know, it's gone. I don't know whether it's maybe this is something that Krishna has facilitated to see who steps up, and it's an opportunity for someone to maybe.
Prabhupada actually knew that there was a good chance that the whole society would deviate from the proper standard after he left. But he said that some genuine souls could come and revive it again. So yeah, there will always be, you know, sincere persons, and they can, you know, follow properly like that. Even in the institution that Prabhupada's guru set up, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati set up the Gaudiya Math, there was so many deviations in the Gaudiya Math. But Prabhupada, one disciple, Prabhupada, he was very genuine, you know, and he took it up, the spiritual master's mission, very genuinely. So yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that some devotees may deviate or, you know, diverge, but then others can, you know, be very genuine and strictly follow and be sincere and like that. So there's free choice. That free choice is always given, whether we can misuse it or use it properly.
You know, in my heart, I just feel like between you and Keshav, I mean, you are the ones I know and that I look up to, you and Keshava Prabhu. This is it. This is the platform where you step up and join forces and set it right. Goodness gracious. Yes.
Yeah, I wish we could do more. We're not doing so much, but slowly, try to do something good.
Yeah. No, you should. I was talking with Bhakti Mala yesterday evening, and just telling her that, you know, because she was asking how I was doing and all that, and that, yeah, so we just had a conversation, and I said I'm okay, I'm good, and I think we had a conversation. I spoke with you briefly about how I now have a little simple altar, so to speak, that I light the lamp every day, and you know, and there's just so much, like I'm again, yeah, you know, getting more involved and doing as much as I can. And one of the things I said to her is, I just have this feeling, like I feel like I just want to come and just immerse myself, spend some time with you and Jayanti and just couple of days, and then she said, oh, if you're going there, you better stay for a little bit, not two days.
Oh, that'd be so nice. Yeah, you could stay
Please,
longer,
Mom.
of course. Yeah, the door's always open, of course. We
I
can make some arrangements, help you to get here from the airport or whatever like that. So yeah,
I just have
yeah,
this feeling that I just
sure.
want
That'd be
to
awesome.
come in for
Yeah,
and
whatever period of
she
time you want, you're
she
welcome.
thought it
Yeah,
was
that's
a
fine.
very good idea, and like she's like, I said, I'm good. Look, I said, I'm not gonna worry about whether Gail comes or not. I'll just go because she's just too consumed in whatever she's not. So yeah,
But yeah, if you are planning to come, I mean, encourage her to come. I can also send her a message. Give her,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
But yeah, that's a lovely idea. Sure. Yeah. You're most welcome. Most welcome.
what do you think? I mean, now before it gets cold.
Yeah, before it gets cold, it's good. Yeah, anytime's good. I mean, it doesn't get that cold, but yeah.
Now is February.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Mm.
Just let us know whenever you're thinking of coming, and it should work for us. We don't have any big things. I might have some catering coming up in
March.
in March,
Mm.
starting from the middle of March. So yeah, ideally before the middle of March or after the end of March. Yeah, so
What catering is this?
for like an alternative kind of festival, like
You've been doing this a few times before
a few
already.
times. Yeah. So I'm in
Better you should, I
in the
think.
catering circuit like that sometimes, like that. So, but yeah, apart from the first week of March to the end of March, I'm tied up. But apart from that, before that or after that, I'm available, and I think
So
Gianty's
February.
pretty free, and we could work it out that we could come down to one of us could come down to Auckland, pick you up, or you and Gail up, and
Not
like
to
that,
Auckland,
What
Kerry, Kerry.
or
not
to a nearer place. You can get a plane from Auckland, the main airport,
to
to a
Kai
place called Kirikiri, which is an hour away. So that's
Kiri
another
Kiri.
option. Come to Auckland, then fly to Auckland to Kirikiri, Keri, and then we could
Ah.
come in the car and pick you up from there. That's an hour's drive. That would
Mm.
be, yeah. Yeah, one way or another. One way or another, you can definitely come here. That's no problem.
Mm.
It'd be
Let's
awesome.
see. Mm. Just somehow
So
it's
yeah, if you are serious about it, let
Mm.
us know, and then I can also talk to Gail and see where she's at.
I've been
But
trying
even if
to
she's
meet
gonna
up with
come,
her. But Gail, yeah, because it's already been couple of years and she's always not available, she keeps saying she wants to do it, but then she's always it was either her mom or then it's work, and then and then she's just not.
Yeah.
So Bhakti
Yeah, even
Mala
if she
said,
doesn't
just
want to, even
go.
if she's not able to
You
come, you
go.
can just come. Yeah, just nothing stopping you from just coming yourself. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Let's see. I'll flick her a message as well and see whether she even because her mom passed away, and Paul and I have been trying to. He said